I recently relocated to a new apartment a month ago and am still organizing and getting settled. I've always used my parents' address, located a few towns away, about a 20-minute drive, as my mailing address throughout my life. 3 nights ago, my parents called me at 2 a.m., panicked, and relayed this bizarre tale. Around 1 a.m., someone began pounding on their front door and repeatedly pressing the doorbell. My stepfather went downstairs, opened the inner door but kept the outer glass door locked. Outside stood a man in his 30s, wearing a dark hoodie with the hood drawn tightly around his face. He had no notable facial features, no beard or visible tattoos. My stepfather noted he appeared to be Hispanic. Neither my stepfather nor my mother, who was observing through a window, recognized him. The man apologized for the disturbance and said he was looking for me, using my full name. My stepfather played it off, asking, "Who?" The man repeated my full name and claimed my partner was concerned because I hadn't returned home that night. He said he was a friend of my partner and they were both out searching for me, worried about my absence. I don't have a partner. I live alone with my 3 dogs and haven't been in a relationship for the past 5 or 6 months. Here's where it gets stranger. When my stepfather asked which partner he meant, the man named the boyfriend I had in 10th grade, nearly 20 years ago. This ex has a highly distinctive Italian name, unlike any I've encountered since. The man repeated my high school ex's name several times, ensuring my stepfather heard it clearly, and stressed they were extremely concerned about me, asking if my stepfather was certain I wasn't inside. By now, my stepfather was unnerved and shut and locked the door in the man's face. The man didn't leave. He loitered in front of my parents' house for another 10 minutes, smoking cigarettes and talking on his phone. Eventually, my parents called the police. About 5 minutes before the police arrived, the man walked to the dead-end street on their block and drove off in a silver vehicle. My stepfather couldn't catch the license plate. My parents filed a police report, and that was the end of the incident. After hearing this, I was consumed by the odd details. How could someone know who I dated 2 decades ago, and why invent a story incorporating that obscure fact? I haven't spoken to my 10th grade ex in over a decade. Yesterday, I decided to message him on social media to see if he had any clues. I shared the entire story with him, and he was just as baffled as I was, denying any involvement. I'm at a loss. I'm also deeply unsettled that a stranger went to such lengths at 1 a.m. to find me. Any theories or suggestions would be greatly appreciated. No, nothing else unusual has happened since. Update 1. Wow, this post gained a lot of attention. Thank you for all the support and safety tips. I want to address something a few people mentioned that might shed light on this puzzle. First, I'm not in any legal trouble, and I have no reason to suspect I'm being sued. I suppose it's possible someone could be suing me, but I doubt that's the case. As I mentioned in a comment, I had an unpaid expired registration ticket I didn't attend court for, but I received a letter requesting a hefty fine, so I don't think it's connected. I did take out a personal loan. I borrowed it about 1.5 years ago. It wasn't a huge amount, and I was diligent about payments until 6 months ago when a health issue arose. I'm currently behind on payments, but as far as I know, I haven't defaulted yet. Could this be related? I had no idea this might be relevant, or I would have included it earlier. What are your thoughts? Update 2. I've compiled a list of steps to investigate tomorrow based on my ideas and the invaluable feedback from this community. Thank you. I'll post an update soon. Update 3. Apologies for the delayed update. Work has been hectic. Unfortunately, there's little to report. I contacted the loan company, and they denied any involvement. My friends and family also pointed out that the 1 a.m. timing likely rules out a debt collector. Nothing odd has happened at my parents' place since. I visited last night, stayed vigilant, and noticed nothing unusual. So the mystery persists. I'll update if anything new arises. Final update. 1 year later, I finally have a significant update to this perplexing mystery. I'll recap the original story first, followed by the new developments. After the incident, my family and close friends discussed this enigma extensively, brainstorming theories but reaching no solid conclusions. We eventually let it go, occasionally joking about it. Here's the update. My stepsister, my stepfather's daughter, and her fiancé attended a house party shortly after the holidays, around early January this year. While there, they met a woman they didn't know. After chatting for a while, she mentioned her ex-boyfriend, explaining they'd recently split, and she felt guilty because he was devastated. It emerged that her ex was my 10th grade boyfriend with the unique Italian name. This wasn't a huge coincidence, as I attended high school with my stepsister's fiancé, and we share many mutual friends, so overlapping social circles at a party made sense. When my stepsister and her fiancé heard this, they were stunned and, without divulging too much, shared the mystery with her. As they spoke, the woman's face paled, and she looked on the verge of tears. They comforted her and asked what was wrong. The drinks had been flowing, so everyone was likely a bit tipsy. She revealed that a few nights prior, someone had pounded on her door at, unbelievably, 1 a.m., just like my parents' experience. She said she was terrified by the aggressive banging, fearing the door might break. She checked her doorbell camera and saw a man in a dark hoodie. She stayed silent, kept the lights off, and didn't answer. As she prepared to call 911, he stopped and left. She was shaken but didn't call the police, possibly staying with a friend that night or the next. My stepsister and her fiancé were floored by the similarities, especially given the shared ex-boyfriend, though this woman had just ended things with him. They asked if she knew the man, and she said no, but it definitely wasn't the ex-boyfriend. She described the man as taller and heavier than our mutual ex. This is beyond bizarre. The mystery remains unsolved, and these new details only deepen the confusion. No one else has shown up at my parents' door since the incident a year ago. Additional info from OP's comments. To address some questions, my 10th grade boyfriend was involved with drugs during high school. I don't know if he continued using, but I can confirm he's an addict, possibly in recovery now. He visited my parents' house multiple times when we dated. My parents still live in the same house I grew up in, and he came over often. During our high school years, I don't know his current address is, but he grew up about 10 minutes from my parents' place. Our breakup was ugly. I met another high school boyfriend while dating him and ended things poorly. He harbored resentment throughout high school, bullying me severely. I even needed a security escort to classes because he and his friends harassed me so intensely. The bullying was worst in 10th grade, though his hostility persisted. He later apologized to me, claiming he was heartbroken, but I was beyond my forgiveness. After high school, we crossed paths once or twice while I was home from college, and he was friendly, laughing off our high school days. I could message him again on social media to revisit the mystery with the new information about his recent ex to gauge his response and truthfulness. I could also ask mutual high school friends about his current life and whether he's involved in anything suspicious. My stepsister only provided the first name and a description of the ex-girlfriend from the party. I could search my ex's social media friend list for her and message her to ask about the doorbell footage and further details, or whether she contacted the police. This seems like the best way to get answers, but I need to be cautious since the situation is still unclear. My ex-boyfriend has no brothers, only a younger sister I recall from high school. OP's relevant comments. Comment 1. I shared details in the comments about our awful breakup and how he tormented me for the rest of 10th grade. Your theory, echoed by others, that my ex might have a pattern of fixating on women and sending a friend or relative for these 1 a.m. visits, is starting to me now. This would make sense, especially if he's still using drugs. If true, he lied to me when I messaged him last year, which he likely would. If this holds, he's possible he's now targeting his recent ex-girlfriend. I hope he doesn't circle back to me. Comment 2. I've decided to find the ex-girlfriend's name to contact her on social media. I might be able to locate her with just her first name from my stepsister. I'll check my ex's social media friends list for a woman matching her description. He might have tagged photos with her, unless he erased all traces post-breakup.